Hello, and I'm Captain Pervert, your presenter. And me, Captain Gorgeous as well. Alright, we do a car program, right? And we've done some specials like Halloween special and a James Bond special, but my other house has never seen a Bond movie. Alright, we're not on about that today, are we? You know. Okay, so our main subject we're on about is what is this myth of the perfect zombie-proof vehicle. Yeah, that's right. I mean, we all got this sort of image. What does a perfect zombie-proof vehicle look like? Because we got personal armoured vehicles, don't we? What we can buy in the market, like the Insurgents and all that lot. And there's all these military vehicles, but there's all these private contractors what have armoured vehicles to go through people in riots and stuff and all that lot, but we just have this image of like some man-made vehicle what's got to be all tatty. I mean, yeah, why don't we think about like Knight Rider? I mean, Knight Rider's indestructible. That would be good in a zombie apocalypse. Oh, you just want to excuse to have bloody Knight Rider because he's a Knight Rider fan. I mean, anybody could have any car like the Armour Crooner and all that lot. It'd be fast and nimble and quick and all that lot. But everybody needs that specialisation of a proper zombie-proof vehicle. It's got to have like machine guns and armor plating, like the film Death Race, not the 1975 one, but we're talking about Jason Statement's 2008 one. I mean, that's the sort of image you get in your head when you think of a zombie-proof vehicle. I mean, there is one of the big daddy of the movies. You all know that what comes sticking into your mind. Which film's that then? Well, the one and only Mad Max, innit? I mean, that is the film that everyone has that vision of a zombie-proof death vehicle. I mean, I don't know, where did that come from? There's got to be a zombie movie what came out with that image, because that's what we all think of. When a zombie apocalypse comes, we've got to like modify our vehicles with snow plows and blades and all bits of sharp bits of metal and all that lot, because we can't really drive vehicles like that on most countries, you know, looking like that, because you know, it'd be a danger. But when the zombie apocalypse comes out, we've got our vehicles. We can do it with anything, can't we? Like sports cars and all that lot. I mean, it's got to have that image with big roll cages and blades and stuff and saws just to cut through zombies. And that image is always coming through. I mean, you're just rambling. The point is that out in the world now, it's very popular to buy a private armour-plated vehicle, or it's not really, well, it's modified for anybody can buy them. I mean, look at that. That can park anywhere it wants, even in a disabled parking zone. They're that good to buy your own personal armour-plated military vehicle, and they're very popular. Like the Rezvani tank, or the Marauder as well. I mean, they're all good personal vehicles to get, but when that news flash comes out on your TV and you find it out when the news presenters come out and they actually tell you that they're going to be cutting the electricity power down to a limited time, so that's not much lighting, and you won't be using your personal computers to go your internet banking, because you find out that all your banks have vented all your bank accounts and all that lot, and so you got no money, and then you want to go and associate and tell your friends and your family that what's happened, and you find out you can't use your technology and you got to go to old primitive old fashioned stuff like Facebook. Well, you can't use that, you need electricity. Yeah, but most people just go out and start rioting. That's what they do, and I mean, just be a public nuisance for the fire brigade and all that lot. That's what they do, setting fire to everything. And then all the rest of the world be thinking, wait on, I've gone out and invested in nuclear bombs and weapons and all that lot. I want to know if they work, and they'll just want to try them out. So this is when the military has to be involved to bring out martial law. And what do we associate with the military with? With military armed personnel vehicles. I mean, to sort out people rioting. So they're designed to sort out human beings. And obviously if they're the Walking Dead like that,
I mean, the police have armoured vehicles.
yeah, because they're designed for riots. So when we make our own personal vehicles to sort out zombies and that, they're used to sorting human being shapes, and you need a handle grinder, because I've seen it in movies when they actually build these personal vehicles,
You know, to make like spikes.
yeah, because you need spikes to cut off limbs of zombies. It's well known for it, so you need to have a handle grinder.
Do you really need a handle grinder?
Well, yeah, the LA police would be wanting to design their cars zombie proof as well, so yeah, the LA police will be having their vehicles looking like that.
You actually think that would really happen?
Yeah, I mean, they have armoured vehicles all over the place. That's why they have them.
Yeah, but they're designed for riots.
Yeah, but they'll be putting machine guns on them just to shoot zombies and all that, look. And zombie outbreak response teams. Now, we all know these are getting very popular, familiar sight now, because when all the computers and the, you know, social media and all your phones and all that lot are not working, we have to resort to old-fashioned stuff like actually putting like signs up to warn people certain areas not to go to, just in case that there's loads of zombies hanging around and all that lot. I mean, a lot of cities and all that lot will get destroyed because that's what the military might want to do, because they always do it in movies that they have to like destroy major cities because that's where there's the most population of zombies and all that lot.
And civilians.
Well, they don't matter because they just want to annihilate all the major cities. That's what they'll do.
Why would they want to destroy all the major cities?
I mean, it's just a rules in zombie movies. That's what the human race will do. They'll destroy everything.
Even the internet.
Well, yeah. So, and then the fire brigade department will have to go in and put all the fires out and fight all the remaining zombies as well.
They do a lot to the fire service, don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got to respect them. We don't know what they'll look like in the future. I mean, with zombie apocalypse and all that lot, and everything's just mayhem and all that lot. And after the fire brigade have put all the fires out and all that lot, and everything's all destroyed.
This is all because of the human race.
Yeah, but it's sad when everybody's got to come back to the ruins, aren't they? Because they need somewhere to live and all that lot. And yes, they will need to be educated as well. And the major things, there's no time to be lying about, because yeah, the nation's got to well overpopulate themselves again, haven't they?
You what?
Yeah. So, you got the younger generation what will need their schools back.
They want the schools back.
Yeah, because, you know, you imagine your little Tommies or your little Charlies or anything, they want their sex education.
Yeah, but can't they convert any other buildings like hospitals? I mean, hospitals would be more important to have, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, though, they'll need schools. Kids need to be educated, right? I mean, in the zombie apocalypse. But the thing is about schools that, yeah, there'll be no time for kids playing around in the playground or going to the cinema and or going to the theatre. I mean, kids need to be educated, so...
But we have more fun when we went to school, like running down the corridors and all that lot, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, but the thing is, schools need to be reopened. And don't worry about, most schools will never burn down. It's been scientifically a fact that, you know, all the lead paint, that scientists make sure that schools will never burn down. really, if a zombie apocalypse happens. So we need proper teachers like what like to share at kids back like in the old times, just to educate our younger generation. Yeah, we're talking about babies need to be educated as well.
What? Babies need educated?
That is why they're going to come out with lovely little images, just to make sure our little babies are not confused, thinking it'd be a great life being a zombie baby, because there'll be nobody wanting to change your diaper if you're a zombie baby. Yeah, very sad. So you need to be a little healthy little baby.
You're just rambling a load of nonsense, yeah.
I ain't, right? It could be a scientific fact that all kids need to be educated. They need to know how to sort out zombies for a fact. I mean, you give a child a gun, they'll need to know what part of their body they need to kill a zombie. I mean, we need schools. I mean, you can't just give a kid a loaded gun and think, up for the best. There, I shoot at a zombie, because they'll just go willy-nilly and shoot every part of the body of the zombie.
And what is the most important part of the zombie?
See, even you don't know.
Yeah, I do. I've seen some stuff.
But, kids, it doesn't matter. Zombies are not friendly. They might not give you presents and stuff and all that lot. And it doesn't matter how powerful you give a kid a gun. They'll always shoot the damn zombies in the chest. That is no good. Now, zombies, there's only one vital area. It doesn't matter what caliber you got. You always shoot a zombie in the head. And it will make sure that the zombie is dead. So that's why we need schools. And we've got to help these mopey teenage boys as well. Because when they get like teenage things, their brains go mush like zombies. Well, that's when you shoot a zombie in the brains. Maybe that's what happens. But yeah, so,
what are you on about?
What I'm thinking about, if you was a boy zombie, would you get a girl zombie? I mean, would that be quite interesting? I mean, I'm always wondering why they're always making all them weird moaning noises in the background and you don't see what they're all getting up to and all that. No, I mean, I'm thinking maybe they think about getting engaged and thinking about like us human beings do, like properly getting married and all that lot. It's like this the first ever movie what presented the word zombie in it, actually in the title, and that was back in 1932 by an independent film done by two brothers called the Halperin Brothers. They rented studios off Universal Studios, what were finished, like Frankenstein and Dracula, and then when they did the film White Zombie, they sort of like give their movie bad press and had critics giving it bad reviews and all that lot. It just tantalised the public to think, what is this movie so shocking about? I've got to go out and check it out, why it's so bad. I mean, the title itself is quite shocking, White Zombie. But for somebody out there in the mid-80s, Rob Zombie, he must have loved this film, really loved it, because he actually named his rock group White Zombie. So we're moving on with the movie as it comes out who's done what in the credits and all that lot.
Yes, and I know how a movie works when it comes out with all the vital information about who's done what. So just get on with it.
Right, so this movie sort of goes on a very sore subject. It's based in a very a land called Haiti, and it's got some very formal history, what it's well famous for. Yeah, we all know it as slavery, and yeah, it's a very sore subject, a part of history in life that, yeah, people around the world did actually gain people from other countries and all that lot and put them in shackles and chains and dragged them away from relatives and put them into ships in cramped, horrible conditions, and they actually took them to the place, Haiti, where they actually landowners could actually separate families apart and had them working the land and culturally change it for like tobacconist plantations and sugar
And maybe cotton fields as well.
Well, I'm not too sure about the history of that.
You should do.
Well, I don't. I mean, I do associate cotton fields with America and that, but Haiti has its own famous history itself. A rebellion against the slaves uprising. You know the movie Spartacus and the series and all that lot. Haiti has its own history.
Do you mean Toussaint Brédé?
Do you mean Toussaint L'Ouverture?
Was he born on the French colony Saint-Domingue, 1741?
Yeah, that's the guy. He was classed as the Black Napoleon in the times. I mean, he actually fought against the British, sided with the Spanish, and they actually held the country for 12 years and then gave it independence. But unfortunately, this country got famous more for the religion, voodoo and baccaras, what always get mixed up as some zombie masters and all that lot, all because this guy came over there exploring, William Seabrook, and he wrote this back in 1929. It was a big top seller, and this guy was a bit odd. He wanted to taste human meat to be in cannibalism, and then later on in life he commits suicide. But he gave the inspiration for Kenneth Webb Broadway play, what had a plantation bloke what gets murdered so they can steal his fortune and all that lot, bringing him back as a zombie, and inspired this movie. But we've got famous actors like Bela Lugosi. Who? Bela Lugosi, right? He's well known for playing a famous Dracula. If you see any images of him, you'll always recognise that guy is playing Dracula. And he was actually buried in a Dracula outfit in his coffin as well. So that was some dedication he did. So we all know these Hollywood famous monsters, like, you know, the typical hairy man himself. Yeah, the Wolfman. But there was a famous British actor called Boris Karloff. Well, wasn't his real name, but he played proper dead zombie type figures, and the most famous zombie he ever played was actually Frankenstein's monster, what was actually written by Mary Shelley. I mean, the most famous zombie of all. I mean, the very sympathetic one. So we're moving to Marge Bellamy, right? She's a bit of a naughty little cunning little minx, this one, right, back in the day. I mean, she had an affair, and then a lover was just casually out, and she decided to shoot at him with a revolver. And
what happened? Did she get arrested?
Well, technically, no, she just broke a gun law and all that lot. But she's well famous for, you know, showing bits of skin and all that lot. And I don't know what these pictures are about.
Well, I know some information about a guy what's a bit weird and perverted and all that lot. And this is what I need to do, is put a pervert alarm on him. And I mean in you, Captain Pervert.
What do you mean? What have I done?
Wait, look, you might be on about zombie-proof vehicles and all that lot.
No, I'm on about zombie-proof means of transport, or what?
Oh, we're getting technically posh, are we?
Well, it's 1932, isn't it? I'm going so back, aren't I? So it's transport I'm actually gonna refer as, right? The zombie-proof means of transport, okay.
So, Boris Karloff was English, wasn't he?
Yeah, so, why?
Well, were there any English zombie films then?
Well, yeah, there is actually. I mean, there's a famous one about a couple of geezers what are trying to survive by going to the pub, and they get vehicles to get there.
And do they modify it like zombie proofing it and all that lot?
Well, no. I mean, they go to a pub called the Winchester, right? In standard Jags and Reynolds and all that lot. I mean, one thing you don't want to do is go to a pub seeing that geezer's video game. The graphics are really real.
Oh, I don't know. Right. So, what's this film then? 28 Days then? Real London Taxi that you're showing?
Well, the film is actually got like angry people in it and all that lot.
So is it like a zombie-proof vehicle? Does it get armor-plated and all that lot?
Well, technically, what I'm trying to get at is the zombies are not real zombies, they're just angry people. But there's some military vehicles in it. I mean, they did make a sequel as well, but it's got a Volvo Estate and a little Honda, 125 and that.
That is irrelevant. You're telling me this isn't even an actual zombie movie then?
Well, there is loads of British zombie movies. I mean, really some hardcore stuff. I mean, the British always sort of like have a bit of a dingle and a little bit of a change and try to twist the story of zombies. I mean, yeah. There's a classic one like with Donny Dye, Dog House and all that lot. I mean, yeah, you've got the actress Adele Silver in one, and it's really shocking.
Wait on. I'm getting a bit strange vibes again.
No, she throws a console away.
Pervert alarm.
No, just calm down. Alright.
You're just abusing it, just showing women, aren't you?
No, alright, give up, right. If anybody knows any of these zombie movies and all that, I mean the BBC had a crack at it and all that lot, done all sorts of zombie and things and that, of the British and that. But why did you pat me off for doing stupid alarms like that?
Just get on with it, right? Just mention about what was the actual proper zombie vehicles coming to it and all that lot.
Well, look, I'm just going into the subject of British films, right? British zombie films, right? I mean, they were well known in the 60s, and they sort of revived the zombie movies with a very famous zombie movie they actually came out of.
Oh, just babbling, aren't you? Just a load of rubbish again, aren't you?
No, what I'm trying to get at, right, that when White Zombie came out in 1932, and then a couple of years after, 1934, a thing called the Hays Code came out, and then Hollywood was like restricting violence and stuff and all that lot, and obviously zombie movies sort of like suffered and all that lot. But when round in the 60s, the like a censor board shit came out, and that's when they could actually bring more violence into zombie movies, and the British actually introduced that zombies should be like rotting corpses and all that lot, not like the back in the old days and all that.
What you mean back in the old days?
Well, right, the film I'm about to be mentioning, it's got like zombies, but they're in a trance and all that lot.
So they're actually not like rotting corpses and stuff like we know now and stuff, and like rotting flesh and like.
Well, no, I mean they're just like people in a trance and all that lot.
Well, it just sounds bleeding boring or something.
Yeah, but the British sort of like came out with makeup. It's quite a very popular zombie movie for the British and all that lot. Back in 1965, I think it came out in. I mean, I'm sure it was called The Plague of the Zombies and all that lot. I mean, there's so much movies that came out in the time. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a strange film with zombie plants or something, you know, the girl with the gift. But that's it, The Plague of the Zombies. But we all know, a couple of years later, 1968, George Romero. Oh no, Judith Ridley. Oh, I had a terrible crush, and then a stupid boyfriend said he was gonna fill in a tank with a pickup truck and blow her up. I got my...
Time for pervert alarm.
Well, give up!
I just want to know some car facts.
Yeah, the 1911 dead vehicle was a Linden Green with a black vinyl roof. Not a lot of people know that, and a lot of people always presume that George Romero's second outing of Dawn of the Dead back in 1978 was the first original zombie-proof vehicle, but they get confused with the remake back in 2004, where we have these minibuses converted into zombie-proof vehicles. But there's been other zombie movies in the past. I mean, like Evil Dead. I mean, sort of like a zombie-proof vehicle, but they're not actually zombies.
Well, you're not getting that then.
Well, it's like Quentin Tarantino. They just got an iconic vehicle, but I'm not too sure if there might be zombies in it in this film as well.
What do you mean they're not zombies?
Well, it's like George Romero got the influence of Iron Legend, and that's actually based on vampires, and that's got some iconic vehicle fighting, you know, zombies. But Zombieland's a good, interesting film. It's got like a load of different zombie-proof vehicles what get stolen by a couple of young ladies, and they keep crashing them and all that lot.
Did the British ever come out with some zombie-proof vehicles?
Well, my dad always says there's only one classic movie for the British, and that's The Italian Job. And he loves to actually drive a Lamborghini over the Italian Alps and listen to his old classic music, Mac Monroe. But he says if the zombie apocalypse came out, they'll just bar wire all the roads off and actually put fences everywhere, and then they'll have to put warning signs up to warn people about zombies and all that lot. In reality, he says that's what they'll do with the roads, son. He says that's what will really happen. So there'll be no 44s to watch and all that lot, like my dad says. And he says about you doing the best automatic on these racetracks, they'll do the same. They'll come up with signs warning you, putting fences up and barbed wire fences, and then actually they might actually put more fences out there, and then to make it really safe and secure, they're going to put these alarms up as well, just to warn the public that, you know, there's mysteriously zombies walking by.
Leading out that noise is annoying.
Well, how you think I feel when you keep playing that pervert alarm? But in reality, that's what normal people have to pad out with. If you had a zombie apocalypse, we need alarm systems to alert us to wake up to fight the Walking Dead and all that lot. And that's one familiar noise we've got to get used to.
Yeah, my pervert alarm for you.
Wait on, I just realised where you got that noise from, aren't I? Yeah, that's where you pinched it from. I just start twisting it and verting about me being a pervert with a zombie alarm and all that lot. You just bang out all down that.
You're just rambling, aren't you?
I'm not, I mean I'm complaining about that pervert alarm you keep playing and all that lot. I mean it's not on. Just turn it blading off, it's annoying, alright?
Look, just get on the film back in, what, in 1932, that zombie film came out, White Zombie. So they had all these type of vehicles back then, didn't they? So we're going to see it all zombified and spikes on it and that, aren't we?
Well, White Zombie, yeah, it's 1932 movie, but when it starts, you see like a stagecoach and horses and all that lot.
What do you mean a stagecoach and horses and that? What time period is this based on? Is it like Army Plated and all that lot, the stagecoach?
Well, it ain't actually. I mean, it's like Awesome Cat, isn't it? You know, what do you mean?
Oh, this is disappointment. So they're in a horse and cart or stagecoach. I thought zombies like eating horses that don't get on, so they're quite a vulnerable target of horses, aren't they, for zombies to munch on?
You don't want to mess with zombie horses and all that lot, do you? But yeah, that's how the film starts, with a stagecoach and a couple called Madeline and Neil, and they are not superstitious about the groom and the bride seeing each other before their wedding and all that lot. So they're off for their wedding at someone's house called Mr. Bowman's, right, because he's paying for it. But they get held up, and Marlene's asking, what's stopping you going on, driver? And he explains what they're doing here is they actually bury the dead in the middle of the road just to stop grave robbers robbing the bodies and that. And then something just happens weird and scary.
What? Like they're burying the dead in the middle of the road, so it'd be like a herd of zombies coming out, won't there? And they'd be all like eaten yeah, the zombie attack, won't it?
No, just calm down, it's more scary than that. You see Bela Lugosi's eyes.
You what?
Yeah, his eyes are floating about in this shot, right? And then the driver comes up to this guy, and it's Bela Lugosi himself, right? And the driver asks, do you know what some directions where I'm going? And Bela Lugosi just totally blanks the driver and ignores him. And anyhow, there's some zombies walking behind Bela Lugosi's character, and he's just too busy staring at Madeline and just giving her that naughty laugh and all that, like he's obsessed with something. And then we find out he's obsessed with grabbing her scarf.
And then what happens? The zombies come sneaking behind him and grab hold of him, and then they like eat him and rip him to bits and everything. Is that what happens?
No. The driver gets spooked, realises zombies, and this is our first moment about a getaway vehicle away from zombies. Is horse and carriage, yeah? They get away from the zombies because they're slow moving and all that lot, and then this driver explains about zombies.
They are dead bodies. Dead. Definitely. Zombies. The living dead. Horses taken from that grave. All made to work. Sugarville. It's at night. Oh! Here they come!
And then all of a sudden, as you hear in the background, that you hear this whining dog noise.
Yeah, it's like zombies that must be eating a dog, aren't they? And they rip it to shreds, and then they'll sort of thirsty for more blood, and they want to come down to the mansion, and they want to rip out a young couple, and that guy Neil must fight all the zombies off and all that lot. Is that what happens?
No, just calm down. That's not what happens, alright, in the movie. I mean, I've seen it, alright. No, the zombies don't do that. You do see the zombies in the distance as you hear the dog whining. Anyhow, the coach driver sort of like legs it and leaves them. And then we're left with our first jump scare as this strange character comes in. Yeah, Dr. Bruner. He's actually the vicar what's going to marry our couple, but he's obsessed about getting matches off them. I mean, kiddie winkies, you should not carry matches in your pocket. Anyhow, we were introduced to this character, the butler, called Silver, and he don't like smoking in the building because he tells this bloke, Dr. Bruner, to put his pipe out. So, yeah, there's a bit of a weird joke with him wanting matches all the time. So there's Dr. Bruner, he's the vicar, he's going to marry our couple, and he asks questions like,
I met him on the ship coming from New York. He was very kind during the voyage.
So Madeline and I planned to be married the moment she arrived, but Mr. Beaumont persuaded us to come here. And he promised to take me out of the bank at Port-au-Prince and send me to New York as his agent. Strange. Very strange. I suppose you think I'm a little an old fool, but you know, I feel a video better if you clear out of this place after you're married and have nothing more to do with Mr. Beaumont.
What's this guy got against Mr. Beaumont then? Does he know him and that?
Well, no, but the thing is, well, he's only met him a couple of times, he said. But the thing is, Neil's a bit blinded. I mean, back in the times where you got married before you had sex. But the thing is, you need to actually listen what Mr. Beaumont's really up to. What?
Young people have arrived, sir. And Dr. Brunner. They're waiting in the reception hall. Show them to their room. And tell them I'm out. No, wait. Perhaps I'd better see them. He might have gone if I didn't. Very odd, sir. Especially as Dr. Brunner is a trifle skeptical as to your motives, sir. Never mind my motives. But what you're planning is dangerous. Don't you suppose I know that, Silver? You don't seem to realize what this girl means to me. Why, I'd sacrifice anything I have in the world for her. Nothing matters if I can't have her.
This guy's a bit creepy and he's a bit obsessed over this woman, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he fancies her straight away. He must have met her on a boat and all that, though. And this is his plan. He's got something scheming, thinking he could go and get off with it. So he goes down and meets everyone, and he totally blanks and ignores Neil completely. And he's obsessed asking the butler if some certain guest is going to turn up. And they actually do in a horse and cart.
Oh, blimey. What the hell? Isn't that a Nazi iron cross on him?
Yeah, he's like wearing a German medal. And then Mr. Beaumont gets on the horse and cart. And Neil's like watching him from a distance, because it's a bit suspicious what he's doing outside. And then he's going off, and then we get married soon. Then we discover that this guy is actually dead. He's actually a zombie.
What? A zombie? Where iron cross and he's driving or riding a horse and cart. Wow, a first Nazi zombie in the first zombie movie. And does he like bite Mr. Beaumont? And then there's like a mega zombies and they try to get in and kill Neil, and Neil's got to protect Marlene and save her life from a bunch of zombies and all that lot.
No, but the film does get creepy and scary. And it's one of them where I think the censor boards were very keen on. I mean, it's really creepy. You just gotta actually listen to what this does. So you get the atmosphere and the realism of this weird, strange, creaky wooden noise as it's some characters actually pushing round this thing. Like you see Conan the Barbarian and Schwarzenegger, it's like that. It's just this man-made machinery, and then we find out it's a sugar plantation. And obviously Mr. Beaumont's got one himself, but this must be unusual for him, because we actually see one of these workers actually fall in this strange wooden blender what's chopping sugar leaves up and all that lot, and this guy doesn't scream or anything. It's just this eerie wooden noise. You just hear creaking all the time, no voices or anything, and it's just so effective. And I think the censor boards were so offended with it. Anyhow, we get a strange hand offering the seat or a handshake, and we find out it's Bela Lugosi's character, and it's his sugar plantation, and he's offering Mr. Beaumont some workforce zombies for him. But Mr. Beaumont's not for that. He's like, I'm interested in this woman. And Bela Lugosi says, yeah, I've seen her down the road. And he's like, oh, the things I want to do with her, you know, I want to kidnap her for a month. And he's like, calm down, mate. Like, she's in love with that idiot who she was in the stagecoach with. She'll never leave him. Let me whisper something in your ear, mate, alright? Just listen carefully. Then we get an image of a zombie just standing there. And then Mr. Beaumont's like going, yeah, I'm not doing that. And he's like, look, just offer her a bit of this, right? If you read about Magic Island, it was made of pufferfish poison and all that. Just to give her a sprinkle of this, and that's the perfect thing you want to do. I mean, I had to use a lot of it for the big fella. I had to sort of stick it somewhere where the sunshine don't shine, you know what I mean? And then Mr. Beaumont's like, suppository on that fella. And the zombie gets offended by that, and he had to hold him back. Look, just put it in a bit of wine, or pat it in a flower and just let us sniff a little tiny little bit. It's like day rape drug or something. Oh, that's what technically it might be. Anyhow, it's a horror movie, so we've got to get our new naked scene done with, right? And we see a bit of fire, alright? So, we hear wedding music, and then we see Mr. Silver patting a flower down, and then we hear whining, moaning, telling Miley, let's run away together, I love you, don't marry that idiot, come with me. And she said, don't spoil it. And he's like, look, I want to give you something, a nice little flower. Now have a good sniff, snort it a bit deeper than that, give it a right good whiff, love. And she goes, and then we see Silver, the butler, oh blimey, what has he done? Anyhow, they go to the wedding, and we see Neil and Marlene holding hands, and the wedding sort of goes fine, and Mr. Bowman is slightly jealous. Then we see Bela Lugosi outside the mansion or something at the villa, and he's like messing about with the lamps, and he gets a candle out and he's like wiggling a knife on it, and then yeah, you hear this strange noise. Yeah, it's puppet or something.
It's terrible, this noise. What is it?
I'm laughing at him. I feel sorry listening to you.
Yeah, apologies. I mean, yeah, it did inspire Zombie Expert, because it must be in one of his first zombie movies he saw. And I don't actually understand why this weird, strange puppet, vulture or whatever it is. I mean, even Bela Lugosi looks a bit confused, because in the next first shot we see a parrot all dressed up like some vulture or something, because it's meant to be one. Anyhow, he whittles the shape of the candle, and we get this strange thing where they want Marlene to toast like a gypsy telling the fortune. She says Neil's going to get a lot of loving, and then she looks in the glass and we see Bela Lugosi's face, and it's like dramatic that she's like, ah. And then all of a sudden Neil goes running to her aid, and then it goes back to Bela Lugosi, and he's like playing with fire now, he's setting fire to it. Then we realise, that scarf, he's setting fire to that. And Marlene poses like a zombie and then just slowly faints in Neil's arms. And then we get another shot of Bela Lugosi really close up and all that lot. And then we see poor Marlene demisely die. And then we get another shot of Bela Lugosi, and he comes right up to the lens into your face. Then we get the image that we realise that Marlene is dead, and it seems like Mr. Bowman is actually paid for the funeral, and he's more or less, Neil, you might as well beg her off now, that's it, you're done with. So Neil goes and drowns his sorrows and all that lot, because he's licensed, he's married now, he can have sex and that, and he starts visualising seeing Madeline in spilt beer and all this lot. It's quite interesting to see this shot, because you see these shadows, and Marlene keeps appearing, and he just goes running up to her, and she's like distorted and a bit worried, because he starts bleeding dry, amping the wall, and then all of a sudden you're going to hear another terrible noise. So yeah, you hear that dog whining, and it's like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas graveyard, and we see the zombies waiting.
Oh, I know this image. That because my mum won't let me watch zombie movies, but I have seen Michael Jackson's Thriller, and it's that one where you get that image where zombies are sort of like crawling out of the ground and opening tombstones and all that lot. Yeah, I know this image. It's in my mind. Yeah.
No, that ain't that type of film, right? This what happens in this movie, right? Mr. Bela Lugosi takes Mr. Bowman, and he takes him over here, and he introduces him to the zombies, and he actually explains how he got them and tells him his name. That was his old master, and he turned him to a zombie. This was his competition. This is the one with the iron cross on, and this was the paper boy what threw it on the wet lawn, so he turned him into a zombie. And we all know how we got this big fella, and he was an executioner what was going to kill Bela Lugosi, and he does this weird hand gesture, like squeezing his hands together, and the zombies all form a queue, and they actually go down to the tomb and drag Madeline's coffin out, and then they replace her onto the step, and then pull the lid off, and they all have a right good batches at her, and have a right good old stare, and then Bela Lugosi gets annoyed because Mr. Beaumont's just grovelling, and then he panics when he hears Neil's voice with sex on the mind. Will you what? Yeah. And then he gets annoyed saying, will you put her back in the coffin? And he's like saying, you got to have me zombies that can fight him. And he goes, there's nothing worse than a drunken necrophilia, and they've got to leg it. Alright, so let's go. So this is one bit you want to pay attention in the movie, is this gravestone. When Neil goes past it, he actually touches it and it actually wobbles. Right, and this is amazing camera shot. It just stays one focus on one area, and these characters speak their dialogue about speaking about Madeline being still alive and all that lot, and the camera goes back to the same position. Now we'll get this famous camera shot where we're listening to this piano playing, and Mr. Beaumont is just sat down, and then he finally gets up his bum and he goes over to the piano, and there she is, Madeline, and there she is just staring, playing the piano perfectly in tune, and then he gets a necklace, puts it round the neck, and then Bela Lugosi comes, you alright there, mate? And he's like, I'm not happy about her. She's not gay enough. What? What do you mean she's not gay enough? It's old-fashioned terms, you know. She's not happy. What do you want? She's a bleeding zombie. What's wrong with her? What are you moaning about? I want back what she used to be. Well, there's no wrong with this zombie. I mean, look, her hands are perfect. She can play the bleeding piano. What's wrong with her, man? I mean, she's a zombie. It's what you wanted, isn't it? And and then the butler, he's a bit suspicious, this guy. What is that? Well, he comes in, right, and he offers everyone a drink of wine, and then Bela Lugosi goes, here, Mr. Beaumont, drink up, come on, drink it, come on, stop being a wuss and that, you got to take that wine, it's really nice, your butler's gifted it, mate, come on, give it a good drink, go on, that's good, lad. And then he goes, it tastes a bit funny. And then Bela Lugosi has to remind him, you remember back in my film I said putting it in flour and biting a bit of wine? Well, that's what I've done. I poisoned you. And he's like, Silver, my butler, sort him out. And then the butler like, alright, I'm going to get you. And then wait on, I'm in the plot as well, aren't I? And Bela Lugosi lets him, wait on, wait your bleeding mind up. I mean, we all brought the wine. So he just stares at him, and really weird and strange, and then these army of zombies come in again, and we see him again, and they actually like creep up onto Silver, because he moves really slow, don't they, and all that lot. I mean, then he takes his time, but he finally grabs the butler, and Bela Lugosi's like, ha 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 ha, because Mr. Beaumont does bugger off. He just stands there doing nothing and all that lot. And then the zombies carry Mr. Silver to another set, and he's like grabs hold of his nose and squeezes it. What for? Because I throw him in water.
Right. Then what happens? The zombies go on a zombie rampage and start killing everyone and biting everyone, and everybody's turning into zombies, and then the whole population turn into zombies and all that lot. Is that what happens then? Because it's the first time they actually kill someone?
Well, we don't actually know they kill anyone. I mean, actually, he just goes in water.
Well, maybe he sort of rebels and fight against zombies to Silver. So Silver's the main person, what's the zombie killer.
No, that don't happen. We just get that out of your mind. What really happens in the movie is this. We get our good old favourite Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, that annoying noises from that vulture or parrot and all that. Look, you actually see it sellotaped on the window because it could do animal cruelty back then and them times, right? So, yeah, our heroes go out and try to save Madeline. You know, Dr. Bruner and Neil, and they've got this like witch doctor what's giving them directions, but he doesn't like Neil hanging around because he's a bit sexually frustrated. But he wants to talk to Dr. Bruner privately, and he says, right, there's a guy called Murder. I think he might be your suspect, alright? So you go down this estate, and you'll find a place with vultures hanging around it, because if they do and they make this horrible screeching noise, you've definitely found your place. And the old man's called Murder, so don't forget it. So they go down and find this place, and obviously you're going to hear it again.
Clown the vulture always hovers over the house of the living dead.
Right, so Dr. Bruner has found this place. He's mentioned about the vultures, and we're seeing Marlene out on the balcony as these French maids are wondering what the hell's going on with the movie. It's gone all split screen. Neil wakes up with his sexual frustration and very happy with, you know, what's ever happening. These maids are bleeding frightened as old because they've got to dress a zombie up and put makeup on her and brush her hair and that. Neil is right venturous and all that lot. It starts nearly falling down a bleeding well and all that lot. And then it comes to this shot where we'll see Bela Lugosi, and now we all know his name, it's Murder. So he hasn't murdered this bloke, but somewhere he can't speak, he's like gone all silent movie mode, but Bela Lugosi says, I've never had a zombie going through this experience. I mean, you're trying to communicate. You refuse to shake my hand, that's what I've done it for. And then we go back to Neil walking through all this bleeding set. Don't forget they're bleeding hired them, so they're making good use out of it. So we'll have to watch Neil doing all this walking through all these sets. And then when he finally gets to this set, he wants to have a sit down and have a rest and has a kip instead. And then Bela Lugosi, Mr. Murder I should say, notice him, has a good little smile, and then does that weird creepy hand movement, and then we go right guy close up to his face, and then we have a brilliant shot of Marlene in bed, and she sort of sits up and all the doors automatically open for her, and then we see her going through all the same set where Neil went walking through. And another fancy thing, look at the pattern of the stairs, it's the same pattern on their dress, so they really put some thought or weird special effects, thinking what for.
Anyhow, just go on with it. What else happens?
Well, now Marlene's just standing there. He sort of like does some magic thing that she picks up the knife, and then she casually goes up the stairs, and we've got Mr. Bowman just staring because he's just doing silent acting, and she's holding this knife, and it's like really all tensed, and we look at his brow, and she picks up the knife and she's holding it, and then obviously she's gonna stab him with it, and then we see Bela Lugosi like really getting strong with his eyes and all that look, and he grips his hands more tighter, and she's ready for stabbing Neil, and it's like, oh my god, and then all of a sudden this weird mysterious hand comes out of nowhere and grabs the knife off Marlene, and then Mr. Murder is powerless because she like goes on a rampage of running away down the stairs, running through the set again, right, they're making good use out of this. Neil wakes up, sort of notice, hey Marlene, hey, come here, hey, where are we going, love? Oh, and then she goes to another set, and it's like a proper like outside the seaside resort, and it's like Neil convinces,
what are you doing, you silly man? Don't commit suicide, we're married! Come on, we haven't slept together yet! Yay, come on, love!
and now that gives Mr. Murder a good time to sneak up on him, and he sort of rounds up his zombies, and you want to pay attention to this zombie with the arrow, because you want to take a really good luck, right? And then Neil's like, well, what's all these people hanging around? I want a bit of private moment with my missus, alright? And Mr. Murder says, "There for you." And then Neil's like, "I'm not bloody scared of zombies. I'm armoured bloody dangerous. Yeah, take that, you little buggers." And like, we should know all the rules about zombies. Neil doesn't know it.
What's happening?
Well, the rules about zombies, you've got to shoot them in the head, shoot them that they're dead. And he doesn't do that. He's just like a typical kid where you give a kid a gun, you just shoot them in the chest. And then, this was like the sensor board again, you see a bullet out, hit a zombie, and that was actually boiling. And he starts blasting away at these zombies, and obviously they're all getting closer and closer. It's not boiling. And then, the zombies finally get round and they surround him,
And then he gets killed.
No, he runs out of bullets, obviously, but he's standing close to the edge of the cliff, and then all of a sudden something happens. We see a shadow, and then it's Dr. Bruner. There he is. He's finally in the shot again, and he hits Mr. Murder on the head, bops him out. Right, he faints and all that. Look, the zombies think, "Well, we're not under the spell. Let's commit suicide like that Marlon did. Come on, let's all jump off." Well, they don't actually speak, but they all commit suicide anyhow, the zombies. Marlene, well, she's already tried suicide, but she realised she's married now and all that. Look, I think so. Anyhow, so she just looks around and there's a little gentle little smile. Neil goes, "What? Marlene? You're alive! Oh, Marlene! Oh, a bit of foreplay! Oh, I'm getting all excited again!" And then all of a sudden, Mr. Murder wakes up and Marlene's back to square one again, just a zombie again. And so they're a bit confused, so they confront him. Then, yeah, you hear this again.
Oh no!
Yeah. Mr. Murder throws his vial of zombie powder and it explodes like a bleeding bomb in front of their faces. And then we hear the squawking parrot again, and then Mr. Beaumont comes sneaking behind him and throws Mr. Murder off the cliff. And then Mr. Beaumont decides to commit suicide as well. Neil goes up to his wife, and it's all weird, sweet and loving because the spell is actually broken, and she smiles and Neil is happy until Dr. Bruner asks for a match again. And he goes, "Buy yourself a bleeding lighter," and he's a bit annoyed with that. And that is the funny moment of the film, that it's sort of like, it's about smoking and the movie ends. But there should be an alternate ending, like, something funnier. Like, he says, "I'm not really a vicar and you're not really married." Neil throws him off a cliff and he's like, "Oh, I can't wait, we're married, let's sleep together." And she's like, "No, we're not married, you're not doing that." And that's how the movie should actually end. And that would be a funnier joke. But it's like every movie, it has a climax for a sequel. Yeah, someone is hanging on the edge of the cliff.
So, is that how it really ends?
Not really, I just bruised it up a bit, and a lot of it actually.
So, a lot of this information you was actually telling that it might not be true. Like, schools being painted in lead paint.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think some of the schools might burn down.
And what about zombies in nappies and that? Would they actually, if you're a zombie, would you actually poo and wee?
Well, actually, I don't think nobody's actually done that in a movie and all that, look.
So, technically, you ain't really advised us on anything. Not even the first zombie-proof vehicle.
I said the first zombie-proof means of transport, and that was the first film. So that's good enough what I tried.